And due to her special status, the homeroom teacher, Teacher Wei, believed her without doubt, so she found the director of teaching and said her class was already full. Tell him to leave quickly, Huo Yao quickly interrupted. Dad, you're on speakerphone, although she warned him in time. Their father's meaning was already clear, Huo Shan was stunned. This was being caught in the crossfire. He asked confusingly, Dad, are you? But the voice on the other end said, hello, the signal is bad here. I'll hang up now. After hanging up, their father grumbled, HMPH all of them before, we couldn't keep them here even if we wanted to. Now that Yao Yao is back, they all want to come back, dream on. At that moment, Hu Sheng couldn't get over it. Wouldn't their father's conscience hurt doing this? Just as Huo Yao didn't know how to comfort him, the doorbell suddenly rang. Huo Yao felt relieved, thinking it must be the takeout. I'll go get it. It was indeed dinner, but the delivery was quite extravagant. Not only did the delivery man arrive in a luxury car, but he was also wearing an expensive suit. Even the packaging was wooden as he respectfully handed the dinner to hire. He sighed in relief. The boss said to keep it low-key and not to scare the young mess. Hu Yao, holding the slightly heavy wooden box, hadn't quite processed it or takeouts this high class nowadays. Fortunately, it was just a simple 8-dish meal with soup. After dinner, Huo Yao was about to do the dishes. Huoxing grabbed his sister's hand and said seriously, a girl's hands are meant to be taken care of, put it down, I'll do it. The fourth brother, who had always been cared for by his sister, finally had an epiphany and wanted to contribute. Huo Yao went to prepare some after-dinner tea. She hadn't taken 2 steps when she heard a crash. And it would be better to arrange Hu Yao in another class. Just like that, she casually rejected Hu Yao. The director was about to persuade her, but Hu Yao, who was nearby, said, if the teacher doesn't want me. Yes, unsurprisingly, our fourth brother had broken a plate. It was just so Versailles, trying to help but causing more trouble. I don't mean anything by it, but the implication is that he's completely helpless with household chores. In the end, Huo Yao took care of everything. This precious second-generation rich kid was only fit for resting. The sister even forced her brother to take medicine, which she had concocted herself, an unregistered product. The brother was reluctant at heart but couldn't resist his sister's terrifying pressure. He had no choice but to drink it all. As they say, life and death are predetermined and wealth is in heaven's hands. How could a great man worry about being a guinea pig? Seeing her brother being so obedient, Huo Yao patiently instructed him, if you want to recover quickly, you need to take my medicine regularly. Huo Xing looked helpless. Barbecue, it seemed he was in for a long-term battle, but what puzzled him more was that only his second and third brothers knew about his injury. Not even his eldest brother. How did his little sister know? Meanwhile, the assistant took the pill from Huo Xing to show a renowned traditional Chinese medicine practitioner. After careful examination, the old doctor said incredulously, this Yuqing pill is rated as S-class by the Pharmacist Association. Very few people can concoct such medicine. It's truly a priceless, top-grade medicine. Hearing this from Dr. Pei, the person who brought it was also shocked. Even B-grade medicine from the Pharmacist Association is already high-end and inaccessible to ordinary people. S-grade traditional medicines are extremely rare, let alone S-plus grade. It's simply unimaginable. The assistant listened in confusion, only understanding that it seemed very valuable. Dr. Pei couldn't explain it to him, so he gave an analogy, 1,000 of you wouldn't be worth this single pill. Then he asked where the medicine came from. The assistant, shocked, explained it's for a friend with spinal nerve damage. His sister gave him the medicine because there was no packaging information. We weren't sure and wanted you to take a look. I'll go to another class, it's the same wherever I study. Dr. Pei thoughtfully explained, this pill is very specific to the condition. It not only suppresses toxins but also repairs nerve damage. However, I still suggest your friend get a thorough examination. Some chronic toxins can't be detected in the early stages. Dr. Pei thought if it was just for nerve damage, there would be no need for such a precious and targeted medicine. There might be other hidden issues. The assistant understood Old Pei's meaning. He bowed and asked Old Pei to examine Hu Qiang, stating that any consultation fee would be acceptable. Old Pei replied that examining wasn't a problem, but he had an unreasonable request. Could he possibly introduce the person who provided the treatment? The assistant was delighted to hear Old Pei agree to the examination. He excitedly said he'd go back immediately to find out where the pill came from. After the assistant left, the introducer asked Gold Pei curiously if this was from the Pharmacists Association. Goldpeg replied that even the top pharmacist he shoo from the Pharmacists Association couldn't produce a pill of this caliber. He thought the Pharmacists Association was unrivaled, but didn't expect such a master to exist among ordinary people. It's truly a case of there's always someone better out there. But what Old Pay could never have imagined was that this so-called extraordinary person was currently busy collecting love letters in high school. The new transfer student in the senior year had accidentally scored full marks again in the national competition. This caused the 2-year reigning champion to fall from grace. On the way home from school, a boy blocked their path. He stood with his arms crossed, blaring at them fiercely as Haya was puzzled. Her deskmate told her that he was Fin, who had rejected her like a rocket before the transfer. He had always been the top student. It seemed Fin suddenly blocking them was likely to settle scores with Hayao. Sure enough, Fin stood directly in front of Hayao. The two stared at each other without a word, determined. Huo Yao's arrogant attitude further confirmed to Teach Her Wei that he was an unruly student. The director finally warned, "Old Wei, this is the one you're rejecting, don't regret it later." The surrounding area was filled with curious onlookers, various discussions spreading. What's going on? Has the former top student finally cracked under pressure and come to challenge the current top student face to face? Fight, they really enjoyed watching the drama unfold. Huo Yao seemed to sense the hostility. "It's a shame we can't fight. Fighting is prohibited on campus. But if you insist on causing trouble, sister doesn't mind showing you why flowers bloom," she said, cracking her knuckles, looking eager to fight. Just at this critical moment, Yilian Fan suddenly smiled awkwardly. "Who wants to fight with you? You're a girl. Why is your mind full of violence?" This sudden change in tone caught the onlookers off guard. How disappointing. What is Yili and Fan up to? At this moment, Yilian Fan suddenly took out a small heart-shaped envelope. "Ah, this scene seems familiar. I can guess what's inside." I suddenly feel my old face blushing slightly. Yilian Fan coolly tossed it to Hu Yao, trying to act deep as he said, "Give me your answer tomorrow." After saying this, he wanted to leave coolly, but he was so nervous that he stumbled. At this time, the desk mate was the first to react. "No way is it a love letter." He excitedly ran to Hu Yao, eager to know the contents. But Hayao mysteriously said, "It's something you wouldn't understand." While hiding the letter behind her back, the deskmate became even more curious. "How do you know I won't understand if you don't let me see?" The second was a famous genius lawyer. The third was an internationally renowned doctor. The proud teacher Wei said she wouldn't regret it, angering the director. He had no choice but to arrange Hu Yao in Class 3, but teacher Chen, the homeroom teacher of Class 3, wondered why would a top student with full marks be rejected. Hayao teased, "Sweetie, trust me, you'll be confused if you see it." She patted the deskmate's head and smiled, saying, "It's about this." The deskmate instantly understood. "Are you saying I'm not smart?" The next day, Yi Lian Fan found Huo Yao again and directly asked, "Do you have an answer?" The surrounding students were all waiting to see this sweet drama unfold. Huo Yao pulled out the envelope and handed it to him, saying disdainfully, "Next time, don't bring me science questions. I'm an art student now." Yi Lian Fan opened it publicly. My goodness. It was actually the final question from last year's International Physics Olympiad. At that time, only one genius had solved it unexpectedly. Huo Yao had solved it overnight with steps even simpler than that genius. The onlooking students were shocked again. They were confused. "What's going on? Wasn't it supposed to be a love letter yesterday? What kind of love letter is this?" They couldn't help but sigh that the world of academic geniuses was truly beyond ordinary people's understanding. A father helped his daughter cheat by getting exam materials, but she only ranked last. It turned out his son couldn't stand his sister's video. So he sent the materials to his sister's rival, and the rival who received the materials accidentally scored full marks again. When the father learned the truth, he wanted to beat this unfilial son. His recklessness had ruined all of his father's plans. That wasn't the end of it. Soon, the news about obtaining competition materials through bribery was exposed on Dian. The comment section was flooded with various insults and suspicions. Could there be a problem? But when he carefully observed this transfer student, his attitude changed instantly. Hu Yao's face darkened after seeing this. She knew clearly who was behind this. Hiring so many trolls to smear her, it was obvious they wanted to make her unable to stay in school. It was time to settle accounts, so she stood up and walked straight out of the classroom. Soon, Huo Yao came to Lu Zia, seeing Huo Yao's fierce demeanor. Lu Zia was a bit confused. Huo Yao clenched her fists, looking extremely serious. Are you always this free? Lu Sha was puzzled, not understanding Huo Yao's meaning. Huo Yao thought she was playing dumb and spoke directly. You first said me the materials, then exposed and smeared me on Douyin. Is this the best you can do? Lu Sha's little follower immediately retorted, you violated the rules and got exposed. And you have the nerve to come cause trouble for our Sha Sha? Lu Sha was getting more confused. What exposure? At this point, the little follower showed her the Douyin post. Now Lu Sha was about to go crazy, this idiot. I didn't want Hu Yao to stand out, but I never meant for the material issue to blow up. Dad got those materials through connections from the exam board. If this gets big, I'll be in trouble too, but trade by my brother at home, and now by my bestie at school. I'm so done with you losers. Lu Sha now understood what had happened. He arrogantly said he didn't post it. The innocent have nothing to fear. Coming to question me seems pointless. Huo Yang angrily slammed the table, lowering his posture. He slowly said, it doesn't matter who posted the TikTok. What matters is that from the moment it was posted, you were destined to pay for your stupidity. Lu Sha, feeling guilty, was speechless. Huo Yang arrogantly touched his chin. I wanted to let the matter of the documents go, but your actions today are so stupid it's endearing, he said, turning away stylishly. After the jerk left, the little follower quickly tried to claim credit. I anonymously posted the TikTok. I just wanted to vent for you. At this moment, Lu Sha was truly in a difficult situation. He impatiently said, shut up, let me have some peace. This student's appearance was too good-looking. Never mind, as long as he doesn't cause trouble. I'll accept him even if his grades are terrible. The little follower looked bewildered, not knowing what to do as he looked at Lu Zia. Meanwhile, Lu Zia thought, I really thank your ancestors. This isn't venting. It's clearly pushing me into the spotlight. It's really a case of fearing what comes. This quickly escalated to the principal. And the instigator was Teacher Wei, who had always disliked Huo Yang. Offending a high school teacher is truly terrifying. Huo Yao was originally a transfer student specially recruited by the principal, but he still scored full marks in the transfer exam. He rightfully should have joined the rocket class, but Teacher Wei of the rocket class suspected Huo Yao had entered through the back door, so he joined with the vice principal to try to expel Huo Yao. Fortunately, Huo Yao scored first again in another exam. He barely avoided expulsion. This slapped Teacher Wei in the face, and this time, Teacher Wei once again went to Principal Zhang, reporting that Huo Yao had violated rules in the national knowledge competition, demanding the principal to deal with it seriously. The principal got a headache upon hearing this. Huo Yao's abilities were obvious to all. He really couldn't understand why Teacher Wei was always targeting Huo Yao. The last time the backdoor rumor problem was caused by him, the school didn't pursue his responsibility. Why was it still endless? Seeing Teacher Wei so persistent, the principal felt he must resolve this face-to-face. He asked seriously, are you certain that Wei has character issues? Teacher Wei was cautious, stating it wasn't that, just that someone had reported it. The principal asked for evidence upon hearing this. Teacher Wei hesitated, saying it involved student privacy. I can only say Wu Yao definitely obtained the competition materials in advance. This teacher was clearly swayed by looks. The principal understood immediately. Teacher Wei didn't forget to embellish, saying this competition's questions were mostly science-based, extremely difficult. How could he, a liberal arts student, answer better than even Arlene Lian before the principal could speak? The physics teacher nearby said, Old Wei, you'd better look at what I have here first. It was a love letter Yi Lian Fan gave to Hayao. The final question from last year's physics Olympiad, which had stumped countless students. Yilian Fan couldn't solve it in 7 days, but Huo Yao solved it in 1 night. Yilian Fan couldn't believe it, so he told the physics teacher. The physics teacher determined that Huo Yao was good material for studying science. He was about to bring the evidence to scold the principal. When he happened to encounter Old Wei complaining, Teacher Wei impatiently took the note, seeing it was the answer to the physics Olympiad question. With a solution method and steps much simpler than last year's genius, he thought Yi Lian Fan had solved it, but the physics teacher told him the solver was actually Huo Yao. Teacher Wei could hardly believe it, still emphasizing how a liberal arts student could possibly do this. At this point, the principal couldn't stand it anymore. He slammed the table hard, very seriously. He said, "Old Wei, you seem to have forgotten something. I originally arranged for him to be in your rocket class. It was you who shut him out." Old Wei was struck again. That's right, he was originally a science student. It was only his rejection that made him enter the liberal arts class. Then the principal threw a stack of documents on the desk. "Old Wei, look at this. Is this the competition material you mentioned?" Then the teacher brought him to the class. Wei gave it to me a few days ago, saying someone mysteriously mailed it to his home. He was worried someone might use the material to cause trouble, so he gave it to me. Moreover, the competition exam used a different answering method. After hearing this, Old Wei's hand unconsciously tightened on the materials. Coincidentally, he was slapped in the face again. It's hard to believe that two respectable old men would fight over a woman. One is a master of traditional Chinese medicine. The other is the leader of a medicinal cuisine family. Their half-lifetime friendship crumbled so easily in front of a woman. This elegant and classic courtyard house is Yi Lao's ancestral home. This isn't something money alone can buy. Today, Yi Lao specially invited Hu Yao and Li Yu to his home to taste his newly developed dishes. As soon as the three got out of the car, someone had been waiting for a long time, telling them that Yi Lao was still preparing the dishes and asking them to have tea first. Li Yu remembered that Hu Yao had participated in the national competition and asked about the results. Hu Yao replied that he had just advanced to the national competition and would go to Beijing next week for the competition. Li Yu casually said, "Oh, what a coincidence. I happen to be going to Beijing next week too. I can take you sightseeing when it comes to flirting. MIU is still the best, just ask if it's a coincidence or not." But Wei Yao didn't rush to speak. She rested her chin on one hand, tilted her head, and stared at MIU with wide eyes. MIU felt uneasy being looked at like this and nervously said, What is it?" However, Wei Yao spoke frankly, saying, "I feel that teacher Zio Min is such a considerate and kind boy. It's rare to see. I can't help but look a few more times." MIU immediately became timid and couldn't say a word. Wei Yao, seeing this, was very satisfied and mischievously explained that she was just joking. "I might not have time then," as the two were chatting and laughing. Two old men appeared. Yi Lao immediately introduced to Pei Lao. "This is the talented young girl I often mentioned to you." When Hu Yao turned to write his name, the class below erupted. No way, no way, this transfer student is too good-looking and his handwriting is so beautiful. Oh no, it's the feeling of falling in love. I've decided she's my goddess." Then he introduced Hu Xiao, saying, "This old man just sells herbs. Come on, try my new dish." Wei Yao directly picked it up and put it in her mouth. The old man's face was full of anticipation, eagerly asking, "How is it?" After carefully tasting it, Wei Yao thoughtfully said, "If you add 2 tails of Jimiu and 1 cayenne of musk, grind them into powder as the main ingredient, and mix them in, the effect would be better." The old man was delighted and eagerly asked Hu O Yao to comment on another dish. Pei Lao, standing nearby, was quite surprised. This girl only tasted it once and could discern such intricate details. So he curiously asked, "I see you have deep insights into herbs. Young lady, do you have any elders in your family who are traditional Chinese medicine practitioners?" Wei Yao humbly explained, "No, I've just read some medical books and have a superficial understanding. I'm just showing off in front of you." Pei Lao, hearing this, Pei Lao became even more impressed. "Just by reading once, you have such detailed insights. Isn't that a genius among geniuses?" Yi Lao, seeing this, was even more eager to recruit talent. "Young student, won't you consider becoming my apprentice?" Wei Yao was very helpless and could only explain that she wasn't interested in cooking. The herb master suddenly said, "What about traditional Chinese medicine? Are you interested in that?" Yi Lao, who had been rejected, immediately exploded in anger. "Bah, you old herb seller, how dare you ask a young girl to sell herbs with you?" Pei Lao, determined to get a genius apprentice, directly retorted, "And it's appropriate for you to make the young lady a cook," so the two old men started quarreling. However, Hu Yao finally stated that apart from studying, she had no interest in cooking or selling herbs on the other side. At the school-wide assembly at number 1 middle school, the principal sternly criticized, "As students, you should focus on studying, not stirring up trouble and affecting the school's atmosphere every day." This time, some students posted rumors on the forum or bit about competition violations. "The school will thoroughly investigate the source." Among the students in the audience, Lu Zia's sidekick was extremely scared at this moment. She is Zia. What should we do? The principal is going to investigate who made the post. Lu Zia pretended to be calm. What are you panicking about? Wasn't it posted anonymously? The little follower had to confess. I also told the homeroom teacher about this. At this, Liu Zia became uneasy. What anonymous post? You even told the homeroom teacher? You really want to die quickly, don't you? Hearing the discussions below, Teacher Chen was even more proud. The news of a super good-looking transfer student in Class 3 quickly spread through the school. Everyone was privately discussing that Lu Zia had met her match. There would be some excitement to see from now on. The little follower said with a wronged expression, "Wasn't it because you said Wu Zio forced your dad to use connections to get materials for cheating? I did this to get revenge for you." Seeing this, Liu Zia was truly speechless. How could there be such a stupid teammate? She pulled back her arm impatiently and said, "You caused this trouble, you're on your own now." The little follower suddenly felt like the sky was falling. I took this risk all for her, but she's pushing everything onto me. It must be said that Lu Sha's level of manipulation was quite high. On one side, she distanced herself from the situation, and on the other, she sent a message to her influential father, asking him to find a way to pause things to avoid implicating herself. This was truly a major backfire for a manipulator. She had intended to slander Hu Yao for cheating in the competition, but her friend ended up reporting to the principal. Because the school wanted to thoroughly investigate the rumor mongers, Liu Zia's friend was very worried. She had wanted to seek help from Liu Zia. Who would have thought that Liu Zia would draw a clear line with her, telling her to fend for herself? If you're not kind, don't blame me for being unkind. The friend directly went to the principal and confessed everything. Principal, stop investigating. The rumor spreading was all instructed by Lu Sha. Hee hee, you said it in vain, as expected of Lu Sha's little follower. This style is exactly the same. Unsurprisingly, Lu Sha was called to the office, and the performance that followed completely subverted my expectations. She casually greeted the principal. When the principal explained the situation, she immediately put on a saintly act. First, she admitted her mistake, but blamed it all on her adopted sister Hu Yao, saying, the news quickly reached Lu Zia's best friend, Chang Yinyang. She comforted Lu Zia, telling her not to worry. She is Zia, you're the acknowledged school beauty. This transfer student with no status can't compare to you. At this moment, the green tea bitch's high level of cultivation was displayed. She surprisingly reproached Ying Ying. You shouldn't say such things in the future, although Hu Yao is a country girl. She is indeed very beautiful. Pleading with the principal for leniency, I'm willing to take responsibility for my words. What a move, directly shifting the blame to Ning Ning and confirming Hu Yao's cheating. At this time, Wei Loxi, who had always disliked Hu Yao, solemnly asked Lu Zia, are you sure it was Hu Yao who asked your father to get the materials? Lu Zia shamelessly said, it's absolutely true. To explain clearly, I specially called my dad here. Seeing this, the principal was very helpless. Well, I'd like to see how your father views this matter. Soon, Lu's father actually arrived. Oh my, his daughter made a mistake, so he came to act together. He entered and immediately said with guilt, Principal, I'm really sorry. Because of my adopted daughter, it's causing such a stir in the school. That adopted daughter of mine is so useless. She was always at the bottom of her class in the county town. This time she even had to participate in some national competition. I was confused for a moment and actually helped her cheat. I'm really ashamed. Look at that. These words coming from the mouth of a respectable father. At this point, Liu's father thought the principal believed him, so he went on and on to be honest. Even her admission to the high school in the county town was through my connections. At this moment, even Wei Loxi, who had once suspected Hu Yao of using backdoor methods, felt that Lu's father was getting more and more absurd. Lu Sha became even more panicked after hearing this. He forgot to tell his father about Hu Yao's current grades. The principal didn't waste words with Lu's father. He directly took out Hu Yao's regular test papers. When Lu's father saw that they were all full marks, he was stunned on the spot. This was absolutely impossible. Hearing this, Chang Yingying immediately asked, do you know her? The principal bluntly questioned Mr. Liu, do you still want to push all the responsibility onto Hu Yao, Liu's father? Seeing the situation, really couldn't cover it up anymore. Just then, the principal received a call from the General Literature Association. After the call, the principal directly said that the matter of the competition materials being leaked ends here. At this moment, Liu's father was secretly happy. Thankfully, he had called Wenji's friend in advance, but the principal suddenly changed his tone. Saying the recorded national competition qualification was directly cancelled, Lu's father was very dissatisfied after hearing this. On what grounds are you canceling my daughter's qualification? The principal's attitude was firm. The reason. You and I both know very well, if I really pursue this further, it won't be as simple as just canceling the qualification. Seeing this situation, Lu's father could only silently agree, because if he pursued it further, things would only get worse. The celebrity brother came to pick up his sister after school, but the sister wanted to pretend not to know him. Huo Yao and her deskmate had just left the school gate when the deskmate mocked that people these days are getting weirder and weirder. Dressing in all sorts of ways as she spoke, she looked towards a man in a trench coat with only his eyes showing not far away. Huo Yao saw this familiar figure and was also very speechless. At this time, the deskmate said again, Juji, didn't you say your brother was coming to pick you up? Huo Yao could only awkwardly point at this weirdo in front of them. The male classmate was stunned. Oh my god, I really didn't mean to. While Huo Yao was also trying hard not to laugh, fourth brother is a celebrity after all. I should respect his chaotic disguise operation. Wei Yao walked up and called out, fourth brother, introducing her deskmate. Fourth brother, thinking this must be his little sister's best friend, took off his mask and very gentlemanly said hello, but Meng Ying was immediately smitten. How do you know she's from the countryside? The green tea bitch feigned surprise and said, oh, I forgot to tell you. She's the adopted daughter of our Lu family. This news shocked Zhou Yingying, so she's the fake heiress who occupied your identity. Who would have thought that under the mask was such a handsome face? After Huo Yao left, Meng Ying kept feeling like she had seen this handsome guy somewhere before. In the car, fourth brother kept looking at Huo, always on the verge of speaking but holding back. It turned out that the agency had arranged a variety show for fourth brother, requiring him to bring a family member as a partner. Little sister, can you help fourth brother with a small favor? What just then big brother called, fourth brother changed his words, saying never mind and answered the phone. Big brother said he had something to discuss with him, so he brought Huo Yao along. The next scene is not a still image. Huo Yao and big brother sat blankly in the living room, not saying a word. Big brother felt that since the last incident, he didn't know how to face Huo Yao. Fortunately, fourth brother came back with a bowl of water. He asked big brother what he wanted to discuss. It's not a big deal. Someone asked me to check if you had taken on a variety show. Upon hearing this, fourth brother immediately sensed something was off. The agent had just brought the contract. How could big brother know so quickly? He thought of Lu Shaw, so he directly said, this show requires bringing a family member to participate. Lu Shaw is not my real sister. It's not appropriate for her to come. Please tell her that. The fourth was a super popular celebrity. It was like a movie. And who, oh yeah, who was intent on poverty alleviation became the family's darling next. The green tea bitch pretended to be panicked and said, keep your voice down. This must not be spread around. After all, she's innocent too. The implication was clear. This matter could only be spread by you now. Big brother, fourth brother had no good impression of this adopted sister. Back then, when she found out her birth parents were rich, she left without hesitation. Now she wants to come back and pretend to be close. She still is selfish as ever. Big brother heard this and calmly acknowledged it. This puzzled fourth brother. It's not right usually. Big brother would speak up for Liu Zia. Today, why is he so quick to agree? And Hu O Yao, sitting on the side, understood everything upon hearing this. Fourth brother excitedly told big brother, little sister will definitely get the Tsinghua University recommendation spot because she's always first in every exam. Big brother felt even more guilty after hearing this, thinking about how he used to believe only Lu's shock could get the recommendation, and even looked down on this biological sister because of it, he awkwardly said. Then congratulations to little sister, but Huo Yao was focused on looking at her phone. As if she hadn't heard big brother's words, fourth brother could only awkwardly smile to smooth things over. Seeing this, big brother said he had company matters to attend to and had to leave. While Huo Yao was looking at her phone, big brother turned to leave helplessly. Fourth brother took the opportunity to see him out, puzzled, asking, is there a conflict between you and little sister? Big brother shook his head helplessly, saying no, there's no conflict, but in his heart he thought, it's not little sister's fault. I brought this on myself. After returning, fourth brother playfully asked Huo Yao, You and big brother, but Huo Yao, like a big sister, gently patted fourth brother's head and said, "Be good. Some questions shouldn't be asked, even if you ask, you won't get an answer." Fourth brother immediately looked like a wrong child. The naive Zhou Yingying said, "She is Xia, you're too kind. She made you live in a poor family for so many years, but how could Zhou Yingying understand the green tea's scheming?" Seeing this, Hu Yao had to say, "But I can help you with something. Like accompanying you on that variety show." Fourth brother was immediately excited beyond belief. Seeing this silly and cute fourth brother, Hu Yao laughed so hard her stomach hurt. How busy is our top boss, really? Just as Hu Yao left fourth brother's apartment, she heard the click of a camera taking photos. Sure enough, he discovered a sneaky guy in the shadows. The little paparazzo was secretly delighted. He had caught a big scoop of the star Lucky meeting his girlfriend privately. He was going to make a fortune with this. Suddenly, a voice from above asked, "What are you looking at?" The little paparazzo was startled. He looked up and was almost scared to death. Feeling guilty and afraid, he said, "No, nothing." Hu Yao fiercely asked, "You were taking secret photos just now, weren't you?" The paparazzo, having regained his composure, still wanted to deny it. But before he knew it, the camera in his hand had disappeared. Hu Yao, who now had the camera, indeed found photos of herself and fourth brother with such poor skills. "You dare to take secret photos?" Then Hu Yao started to lecture him about the risks of being a paparazzo and the need for caution in this profession. Unexpectedly, the paparazzo became agitated and was about to get physical. At this critical moment, Hu Yao finally remembered self-defense. 5 minutes later, ta-da, poor guy. "Hu Yao, don't let me catch you slipping. I'll make sure you have an unforgettable school life. Do you like this kind of neighbor boy?" At this time, fourth brother also drove over. Hu Yao walked towards fourth brother as if nothing had happened. Fourth brother asked her what she was doing over there. Hu Yao calmly replied that she saw a little puppy and went to comfort it as she spoke. She tossed the memory card out of the car, having dealt with this. They just got home and encountered another situation as soon as they entered. They heard second brother roaring furiously. "What time is it? You two finally remember to come back?" This intensity immediately confused Wu Yao and fourth brother. They instinctively looked at their watches. "It's only 8 o'clock, isn't it?" With second brother's tone, "I thought it was 2 am." Second brother rubbed his shoulders, pretending to be pitiful, and said, "My shoulders, I've been waiting for you two for so long." He was frantically hinting for his sister to give him a massage. This guy had been acting all this time just because he was jealous and wanted his sister's attention. The clueless fourth brother, seeing second brother's state, quickly offered his services. "Second brother, let me massage you. I just learned a new technique from the hospital," but second brother immediately raised his hand to refuse. He didn't care for this annoying brother, so he hinted again frantically. "I heard from mom that little sister's massage skills are very good." Wei Yao finally got the message. She walked up and said gently, "You want me to give you a hint, right?" Second brother, hearing this, nodded frantically, seeing second brother so happy. Wei Yao had to satisfy him, then there was a cracking sound. Second brother let out a pig-like scream. Wei Yao had already left, saying, "Call me next time when you're in pain." Second brother, pale-faced with pain, collapsed on the sofa and weakly replied, "I'm not in pain anymore. I'll never be in pain again in this lifetime." Seeing that his sister had gone upstairs, fourth brother asked second brother what's going on between Hu Yao and big brother. Second brother didn't explain much, only saying to avoid letting her meet big brother as much as possible. "Little sister just came back, don't let her be disappointed in this family." When Hu Yao was kicked out of the house, he came immediately. "What are your plans? I'm at your service anytime. No comfort, just companionship." Hearing second brother say this, fourth brother understood what to do for this family. In fact, second brother was the one with the most thoughtful mind. From beginning to end, he had been doing his best to love this sister. No wonder he could become a well-known lawyer back in her room. Hu Yao got busy again. She took out an exquisite box and organized the pills inside, along with that special set of silver needles. Unexpectedly, she had to use this set of silver needles again. She hoped to find a suitable opportunity to use them tomorrow. "It seems our boss is finally going to showcase her medical skills." The girl, taking advantage of her classmate going downstairs to receive visitors, was actually going to secretly give acupuncture to her classmate's father, although he had been diagnosed as being in a vegetative state by the hospital. She shouldn't take advantage of him like this. Time was tight and the task was urgent, so Hu Yao started immediately by now. Her classmate had received the visitors and would soon be coming to the ward, but Hu Yao couldn't care about that. She hoped there was still time with one needle. Her classmate's father, in a vegetative state, actually moved his fingers slightly at this moment. Her classmate had already come down in the elevator and reached the ward door. She was introducing her relative, saying her classmate was visiting her father. As she said this, she pushed open the door and Wu Yao just happened to appear at the door. She anxiously told her classmate that she had an emergency and had to leave. Then she stuffed a bottle of medicine into her classmate's hand and whispered in her ear, "Your dad woke up. Give him one pill first, then one pill every other day." Before her classmate could react, Wei Yao had already left. At this time, the cousins suddenly shouted excitedly, "Second sister, come quick. Second uncle has woken up, my goodness, is it possible?" Hearing that Huo Yao was going to find her birth parents, he took her to the airport. Huo Yao even woke up a person in a vegetative state with acupuncture. That must have been so painful. Back home, Huo Yao acted as if nothing had happened. Sitting in the living room playing with her phone, fourth brother, trying to make conversation, asked Huo Yao if she liked listening to music. Huo Yao replied, "It's okay." Fourth brother then directly played a song, deliberately turning the volume to maximum. He kept asking if it sounded good. Huo Yao's ears were almost deafened. She perfunctorily said, it's good, you can turn it off now." Then she picked up her phone and continued playing. Fourth brother was frustrated. "Who is she chatting with so seriously? Such a big deal. Leaving me hanging here like this, seeing this." Huo Yao had to show her phone to fourth brother. "An old Chinese medicine doctor is consulting me about a prescription. What's different?" Fourth brother took a look and was even more confused. It was all gibberish to him. He couldn't understand any of it. On the other hand, the doctor did a thorough examination of my deskmate's father. All his physical indicators were improving. It was truly a medical miracle. At this moment, Meng Ying recalled Hu Yao's expression before leaving. She seemed certain that her father would wake up soon. Could this be related to him? But how is that possible? So he sent a message to Haya with the good news, saying that his father had woken up. Haya replied directly, "The medicine I gave you was prescribed by a traditional Chinese doctor. It's harmless, so take it with peace of mind." Meng Ying was surprised by this answer. How did he know I was going to ask about this? Unable to think too much about it, she could only thank him briefly at this moment. Her cousin appeared in the hallway wearing headphones. Meng Ying took off her headphones and said, "You should go back now. It's too late, you don't need to keep me company." But her cousin insisted on staying with Meng Ying, saying she wanted to share her idol's songs with her. When Meng Ying saw the celebrity on her cousin's phone, it suddenly reminded her of something. She quickly sent a message to Hu Yao. "Is your brother a singer?" "Yes, but he's probably just an amateur singer. I haven't asked him specifically." Meng Ying directly asked for a photo of his brother. Hu Yao didn't have one. Hu Yao thought it would be a long farewells. Luckily, fourth brother was nearby, so he directly said, "Fourth brother, let me take a photo of you." Fourth brother, who was eating cake, was about to strike a cool pose when Hu Yao had already taken the photo. He didn't forget to explain, "This is the desk mate you met last time. He insisted on having your photo." When fourth brother heard this, he instantly collapsed. His carefully cultivated aloof image was ruined because of this photo. But Meng Yang, who saw the photo, was extremely excited. "Oh my god, do you have some misunderstanding about amateur singers? Your brother is the top-tier popular singer Larry." Hu Yao was a bit confused at this point. He searched online for Larry and it really was fourth brother. "No wonder I couldn't find any information when I searched for Hu Shang. He's using a stage name." At this moment, fourth brother saw his sister searching for news about him, thinking she must have learned about his greatness. He thought she would surely look at him with new eyes. He was imagining it getting better and better, waiting for his sister to praise him. But Huo Yao suddenly said, "Put your shoes on, the floor is cold." Fourth brother collapsed again. "This is not what I imagined." Finally, the national knowledge competition finals arrived. The school took it very seriously and made grand arrangements because the exam location was in the capital. After landing, the teacher reminded the students, "The school has arranged food and accommodation. Behave yourselves these 2 days, don't cause any trouble. It seems the capital, with its mix of good and bad, is not simple, not far from the bus." Two menacing figures appeared. Behind them was a row of black sedans. Wordlessly saying they were not to be messed with. At this time, an observant male student noticed that all these cars had consecutive gold license plates. Given the distance between them, his name was Min Yu, a hidden rich second generation. Clearly, this was no ordinary group, just because the male student curiously looked a bit longer. It caught the attention of Baldy, scaring the student into a cold sweat just as he didn't know what to do. The teacher patted him and said, "You talk too much, hurry up and get on the bus." The lead teacher then bowed to that group. "Sorry for the disturbance, unexpectedly encountering that family here. This lineup was truly frightening. Who knows which important person was sitting in the car?" At this moment, Huo Yao suddenly stopped, seeming to have a familiar feeling. But then she thought, this is often a mistaken feeling. She directly got on the bus. The one sitting in the car was actually me. It must be said, Huo Yao was truly perceptive on the bus. The male students were still discussing enthusiastically. Those people just now were really scary. It felt like some Japanese mafia. When their eyes swept over us, my heart skipped a beat. In contrast, Huo Yao was casually looking at her phone. This made Yi Lian very confused. He considered himself worldly, but when facing these people, he still involuntarily felt a distance in his heart. Why did she seem so accustomed to this kind of scene? At this time, Huo Yao received a message from Mi Li asking if she wanted to tour the capital together in the evening. Huo Yao declined, citing that the principal would break her legs. Li Yu, seeing this slightly mischievous reply, couldn't help but laugh out loud. Long farewell, haha. A few days later, when Huo Yao was registering at her new school, she was stopped at the gate by security. The driver was confused. The master who never laughs actually smiled at his phone. "What's going on?" The assistant turned his head and said, "Since Miss Hu is in the capital, should we invite her to dinner?" At this point, the driver was even more confused. He dared to call the employer Yuji, how bold, so he mustered up the courage to ask, "Who is Miss Hu?" The assistant explained that she's the girl who gave the master calming incense, a high school senior. He didn't forget to tell the driver that Miss Hu's grades were super good. Getting full marks in all kinds of tests, the driver was completely baffled. "What's all this about? Why are there so many strange things today?" Seeing his pondering face, the assistant kindly reminded him to focus on driving. Early the next morning, Huo Yao contacted her little fanboy at the Beijing Research Institute, saying she was already in the capital and asking him to find some special medicinal herbs. At this moment, Yilian Fan suddenly appeared beside Huo Yao. "Why are you up so early too? Nervous about today's competition?" Looking closely, it was Yilian Fan. Oh my, those dark circles under his eyes, he looked like a panda. He must have been so nervous he didn't sleep all night. Someone saved this poor child. Huo Yao replied with a half-smile, "I'm just used to getting up early." Then, under the principal's repeated reminders, the judges and students entered the Kingda exam venue. The principal specifically told Huo Yao to perform well. It seems all hopes are on her. Seeing this, the grade director asked the principal about Huo Yao's chances of getting first place. The principal closed his eyes and confidently said, 100%. The director was unconvinced. But last time Yi Lian Fan was only 2 points behind her, the principal, while walking, said being able to get full marks and only getting full marks are different things. She's the one who nearly crashed the education systems of several top universities. With her here, Yi Lianfan will always be second. Hu Yao, arriving at the exam venue, was enjoying herself. Students need to swipe their cards to enter. Huo Yao explained, "I'm a new transfer student. I haven't got my student card yet. Is an admission letter okay?" She loved this feeling of being able to study peacefully. With a ring of the bell, the national knowledge competition began in a high-energy scene. Huo Yao, forced to participate in the national knowledge competition, had already shown full marks. She came first in the city-level competition and easily made it to the national finals. This honor all stemmed from the principal's secret registration, arriving in Beijing. The finals venue was undoubtedly filled with the best from all over the country to discover the participants' potential. This year's questions were much harder than last year's. This way, those who stand out would be true talents, ready to bring glory to the country in the upcoming international competition. In the exam room, Huo Yao's unusual progress caught the attention of the invigilating teacher. While others were still struggling with multiple choice questions, Huo Yao had already started on the essay questions. This answering speed was indeed impressive. The teacher was stunned on the spot, but seeing the name Wei Yao on the paper, he realized it was that genius who only got full marks in all exams. He then found it unsurprising. He just hoped this child could maintain her standard. This year's international competition would be promising. Soon, Wei Yao finally put down her pen, seemingly tired. She sighed, rubbed her shoulders, and couldn't help but remark, as expected of national competition question setters, they finally dared to set some challenging questions. If the question setters from when she heard this thought, would they drink to drown their sorrows? With that, Huo Yao stood up to hand in her paper. This again caused discomfort to the students nearby. Where did this freak come from? Is it necessary to be this strong? Not just students, even the team leaders from other schools felt it was unbelievable. Daring to hand in the paper early for such an important exam, one teacher was heard commenting, "The questions are so difficult this year." The security guard took the letter and said, "Wait a moment. I'll go to the academic affairs office to verify." But Huo Yao waited for half an hour without any news, so she asked another security guard, "If he doesn't come back, do I just keep waiting? Can you call the academic affairs office?" Handing in an hour early, they must be giving up. Another teacher laughed and said, "Not necessarily." What if they finished all the questions, then both of them laughed unconsciously? Even a fool could hear the sarcasm. At this moment, the team leader from number 1 high school calmly said, "Yes, I also believe our Wei Yao from number 1 high school finished all the questions." Hearing it was actually Wei Yao from number 1 high school, the two teachers instantly felt their faces burning with embarrassment. Subsequently, the principal received news that little Huo had handed in her paper early, saying she had something to attend to. The principal told her to be careful, but after hanging up, he realized what had happened. She had something to do and handed in early, so he pretended to be panicked and said, "Old you, something's happened." Our school's Huo Yao handed in her paper early again. This old you was from the Beijing Literary Research Institute. Evidently, the principal was deliberately acting at this moment. Sure enough, it aroused old Yu's curiosity. The questions this time were carefully prepared by the institute. She finished in 2 hours, the principal said earnestly. Yes, this child has been smart since she was little. At this moment, old Yu was 100% unconvinced. "Come on, stop showing off. Call her to our research institute tomorrow for the final discussion." The old ginger is indeed spicier. With just a few words, the principal had connected Huo Xiao with the Beijing Research Institute. On the other side, a handsome and capable young man was excitedly waiting for someone, finally able to see the big shot's true face. He was thrilled just thinking about it. He wondered what the big shot looked like to match such outstanding talent. At this time, a young girl's voice came. Lei Xiao, with a delicate jade hand, placed it on his shoulder. When he turned around, he saw a pretty girl dressed like a high school student. He asked in extreme doubt, you're Yao Wan." At this moment, his worldview was about to collapse. The big shot turned out to be a young and beautiful little sister. How could there be such an unfair thing in the world? Seeing this, Huo Xiao asked, "Is it necessary to be so surprised?" Lei Xiao, who had seen the world, quickly calmed down. "This is beyond surprise. It's shocking." Then Huo Xiao invited Lei Xiao for a meal. After all, she had asked Lei Xiao to prepare many medicinal materials in Beijing. After getting in the car, Huo Xiao said after the meal, "I'd like to use your lab." Lei Xiao agreed readily. After all, it's not often one gets to see a big shot in action. Then Huo Yao casually asked, "By the way, how's your research on the RO virus going?" "Let's experience this suffocating love." Just as she got off the plane, an unknown number called her phone. The guard said, "I'm new here. I'm not clear about these things. You'd better wait a bit longer." Huo Yao was very frustrated as she waited anxiously. Lei Xiao's face immediately fell. Almost no progress in a year. He asked the big shot to analyze the experimental data after she's free, but Wei Yao refused. "I haven't been in contact with your experienced experiments. I'm afraid I can't be of much help." But Lei Xiao thought the big shot was being modest. "No way. Then you previously," Wei Yao quickly said. "Oh, those were all wild guesses before." Without any practical proof. At this moment, Lei Xiao was shocked again. Wild guesses could accurately solve problems that the research institute couldn't break through for years. Moreover, she was only 15 or 16 at that time. Is this the difference in the world? Soon they arrived at the laboratory. Huo Yao was very satisfied with the equipment here, but his next words almost sent Lei Xiao away again because he not only wanted to borrow the lab, but also wanted to borrow Lei Xiao. After hearing this, Lei Xiao's head was buzzing. Thinking of the drug materials Huo Yao had prepared, if there were any mistakes, he wouldn't even know how he died. It's really outrageous. How dare someone try to harm our big shot Huo Yao? Huo Yao, who was going to be Jane for the exam, hastily turned in his test paper early. He rushed to his little fan's lab. He needed to prepare an antidote for fourth brother. But he had never used modern technology to purify drugs or make pills before. However, this was no challenge for him. Just by smelling it, he already knew the purity of the drug. Although not as pure as the ancient method of refining, it was enough to cure fourth brother's poison. Fortunately, this method saved time and effort. The little fan wanted to impress the big shot. How about it? Isn't my purification level very high? Huo Yao was indifferent, barely usable. The little fan's enthusiasm was once again trampled underfoot, but facing the big shot, he remained in awe. A white luxury car drove up. The window rolled down, revealing menus. Yao Yao, why aren't you going in? He could deduce the precise data of the entire experiment just by calculation, and he could start doing it himself after watching me do only 1/3 of the experiment. Even more impressive was that it was his first time using these instruments. Not only did he successfully complete the experiment, but he also shortened the operation time. This was simply inhuman. The most frustrating thing was, looking at his dissatisfied expression, he seemed unhappy with his own operation. It's unimaginable. The more I think about it, the more self-conscious I become. We're not on the same level at all. After finishing, Hu Yao thanked the little fan and said goodbye. Then he rushed to the night market in the old town because he had an appointment with young Master Mi. He had never been to such a place and felt extremely uncomfortable. Seeing his out-of-place appearance, Huo Yao realized he shouldn't have brought him here. Huo Yao suggested taking Minyu to eat some delicious food. He knew there was a well-reviewed noodle shop inside. Minyu was reluctant deep down but didn't want to say it outright. Seeing his hesitant expression, Huo Yao quickly explained that the noodle shop was at the very back where there were fewer people. Only then did Minyu agree readily. They soon arrived at the noodle shop. The owner warmly welcomed them. "What would you like to eat? We have everything on the menu," Huyer directly said. "A large bowl of saucy noodles. Remember to add your secret spicy sauce." Then he asked Minyu, "What do you want to eat? Order anything." He then invited Hu Yao into the car. Hu Yao was surprised to see Minyu. "What a coincidence. How come you're at first high and you can drive directly into the school? You're not a teacher, are you?" Minyu smiled and said, "Do I look like one?" "It's my treat." At this moment, Minyu was just like your boyfriend, the same as you. So Hu Yao cheerfully ordered to the owner 2 large bowls of saucy noodles, one spicy, one not spicy. For the spicy one, no cilantro. For the non-spicy one, extra green onions. For the one without cilantro, extra soil. The owner was confused at this point, wondering if they were here to cause trouble. So he probed, asking, "Usually only regular customers remember my spicy sauce." He felt like he had seen this scene before, but this little girl was here for the first time. At the same time, Minyu also noticed that Hire seemed very familiar with this place. Without realizing it, the two had toured the entire night market finally. While waiting for the driver to pick them up by the roadside, Minyu couldn't contain his curiosity anymore and asked, "How did you find this old town night market on your own?" Huyer casually replied, "I saw online reviews that there were many snacks here." At this moment, his mind was on his WeChat moments. He had posted pictures of food, but somehow in his brother's eyes, the tone had changed uniformly. They advised their sister to be careful and not to go out alone, who here had to reply to each one, "Drama queen second brother, naive fourth brother, I got it, you big babies." Just then, Huo Yao's eyes suddenly sharpened, an inexplicable sense of crisis washed over him. Then came the harsh roar of a motorcycle engine. Hu Yao looked towards the sound. A black motorcycle was speeding towards them. Min Yu immediately realized something was wrong. Hu Yao stared at Min Yu with wide eyes and slowly said, "No, you don't. The school wouldn't dare hire such a handsome teacher. It would affect the student's studies." After getting out of the car, he grabbed Hu Yao's wrist and pulled her into his arms. At this moment, a person in black riding a motorcycle rolled over the spot where Hu Yao had just been standing. If it weren't for Min Yu's timely action, the consequences would have been unthinkable. A speeding heavy motorcycle rushed straight at Hu Yao without slowing down. This was clearly an intentional attack. In the nick of time, Min Yu pulled Hu Yao into his arms. They barely escaped, then an embarrassing scene unfolded. This amateur assassin actually fell off the bike, abandoning the motorcycle and running away on foot with such poor skills. How dare they try to harm someone? Minyu was concerned about Hayao's safety and didn't give chase. Fortunately, Hayao was unharmed. Seeing the clumsy steps of the person in black, Hayao felt something was amiss, but there was no time to think further. Wei Yao quickly asked about Min Yu's leg because earlier when she was protecting herself, she was hit. The impact wasn't light, her calf must have been injured. At this time, the assistant also arrived promptly. She felt very guilty for not staying with them the whole time. She anxiously asked if her master was hurt anywhere. Minhyuk calmly replied that she was fine and said she wanted to send Hayao back to the hotel first. But the assistant disagreed. She insisted that Minyu must go for a checkup first. She said she would arrange for someone else to send Hayao back. Before Minyu could speak, she directly called to have a car sent. Hugh Yao didn't forget to say thank you. Minyu sat in the car, watching Hugh Yao's back, thinking to himself, this carefree girl, isn't she curious about my identity at all? At this point, Hayao also advised that she should indeed have a thorough examination. The impact of the collision was not small, although there were no visible injuries. It could easily damage the bones. Hearing Hugh Yao say this, Minyu reluctantly agreed. However, she insisted on waiting until the new car arrived before leaving. Hugh Yao told Minyu to contact her anytime if there was any problem. Hugh Yao was worried not just about the leg injury, but about triggering an acute condition, sitting in the car. Hugh Yao received a message from the head teacher, telling her that she had once again achieved a perfect score and successfully advanced to the finals, but Hugh Yao showed no emotional response. Instead, she thought about when Minyu pulled her earlier. That motorcycle had clearly changed direction. If she wasn't mistaken, the person actually intended to hit Minyu. It had to be said, Beijing was truly full of undercurrents. On the other side, Minyu finished her checkup and went home. Due to the assassin's poor skills, she only had some scratches. At this time, Minyu was frowning because the assistant had acted on her own and didn't let her personally send Hugh Yao back to the hotel. The assistant pitifully explained that she was worried about the master's acute condition flaring up, but Minyu didn't listen at all, just snorted and turned away, leaving the assistant in tears, worried about being sent to the frontier. At this time, the butler Yang Yi came with a tablet. He never imagined that the master would disregard her own injury and still want to send Miss Huo back. He didn't know this was all because of Miss Huo, so he showed the tablet to the assistant. The surveillance footage of that road section had been tampered with. I've restored it from the footage. It seems that Car's target wasn't the master, but Miss Huo, the assistant, was puzzled. Hugh Yao was just an ordinary student and it was her first time in Beijing. How could someone deliberately target her? Yang Yi confidently said. Haven't you thought carefully that Miss Huo might be problematic? Yang Yi was exasperated. How come everyone had been brainwashed by Miss Huo and was protecting her so much? On the way home after school, Hugh Yao's phone rang. The assistant just smiled foolishly. I thought it was because Hugh Yao was with the master that she was targeted. Seeing this, Yang Yi directly took back the tablet. It's useless trying to explain to you. I advise you to be more vigilant, he said as he turned to leave. The assistant was left confused. Why would Yang Yi suddenly suspect Miss Huo? The next morning, the sun was shining brightly. A message alert woke Hugh Yao up. She picked up her phone and saw it was information about a Western Zhou Jade exhibition. This wasn't right. She had received information that Beijing was under strict control recently, not allowing people to wander around, especially during the artifact exhibition period. So Hugh Yao opened her computer to check the forum. Sure enough, it was all about the Western Zhou Jade buy. With so much information leaked during this strict control period, it looked like someone had deliberately released the news. It seems things weren't that simple since she had the chance to encounter it. Why not join in the excitement? Wei Yao finally ran into trouble. In previous exams, he would finish in minutes, but for this national final, he only put down his pen when the exam ended. He sighed in relief. As expected of the national final, the difficulty level was incomparable to the previous ones. For example, this word, if anyone can type it out in the comments, I'll do a handstand and drink water. Walking out of the exam room, the surrounding students were discussing. Some wanted to cry for their mothers, some suddenly felt empty without a goal. The atmosphere was very depressing, the principal waiting outside. Saw Hugh Yao and anxiously asked, Little Hugh, how do you think you did on the exam? Hu Yao replied, seemingly lacking confidence. It should be maybe, probably okay. I'm just not sure if I can get a perfect score. Upon hearing this, the principal and the director were instantly petrified. Listen, listen, is this human talk? Others are calculating how many they can answer correctly. While he's calculating whether he can get a perfect score, the principal didn't know how to respond for a moment. Luckily, he saw Yi Lian Fan also coming out of the exam room and took the opportunity to ask little Yi, how is it? Just as she was about to answer, she heard, it's me, it's me. She looked up and saw it was Min Yu. Are you confident? Indeed. Worthy of being the second best from a century-old famous school, he confidently said, I feel very good. Then looking at Huo Yao, he added, for the last big question, I used the method you taught me this morning. Huo Yao didn't expect this guy to be so clever. He had learned to draw inferences. Huo Yao praised him, saying he did well. At this point, Yi Lian Fan became even more confident. Then I think I've secured second place. Look at what Huo Yao's arrival has done, forcing the original top student to set his highest goal as second place. However, this delighted the principal. It seemed that number one high school was about to rise again, but the director suddenly felt his heart wasn't good. At his age, how could he handle such excitement? Listening to their relaxed conversation, one aiming for first place, the other securing second, they didn't seem to take the national finals seriously at all. Indeed, the two involved really didn't take it seriously. Yili Anfin immediately invited Hu Yao to visit Sengyu University. Hu Yao, who was initially not interested, suddenly became excited at the mention of good food. Your cousin is too kind. Let's go now. This sudden change caught Yili Anfin off guard. He could only lead the way. They just left to get food like that. The two leaders left behind were bewildered. The food at Sanggua truly lives up to its reputation. Huo Yao had just finished eating and was already missing it. At this moment, the cousin finally revealed his true intentions. I've been following this competition. Junior Huo, your results are excellent. You'll surely come to Sanggua sooner or later. Have you thought about what you'll major in? Huo Yao said with slight excitement. It should be biology, but physics and chemistry are also under consideration. Yi Lian Fan was a bit surprised after hearing this. His physics and chemistry are so good, why would he want to major in biology? The clueless cousin started to persuade. Actually, choosing the physics department is quite good, unlike the biology department, where you analyze experimental data every day. So boring. Look how mean this guy is, blatantly badmouthing the biology department. He's calculating that there are pitifully few students in the physics department. He absolutely can't let such a beautiful junior slip away. To leave a good impression on Wei Yao, the cousin pulled out his trump card. He was afraid that if he missed any point, Wei Yao wouldn't choose the physics department, just as the cousin was enthusiastically explaining. He said somewhat awkwardly, what a coincidence. We meet again. Minyu invited her to dinner, telling Hu Yao, your grandmother asked me to look after you. A group of school leaders suddenly appeared, making him a bit flustered. He quickly instructed Wei Yao and the others to come over and identify themselves. Speak up, they're all professor-level bigwigs of the college. It's not good if they see outsiders coming in. Huo Yao cooperatively gave an okay gesture. Thus, under the cousin's extreme nervousness, the professors walked straight past. The cousin had just breathed the sigh of relief. Suddenly, someone in the group stopped. The cousin became so nervous he started to stutter. Professor Zhao, hello. He then took the initiative to introduce. This is my high school junior and cousin. They're here for the competition. I'm showing them around. Yi and Fan thought he had caused trouble for the cousin. Huo Yao also lowered her head and remained silent, but this Professor Zhao stared at Huo Yao carefully. Huo Zhao then remembered. They had met in the principal's office last time, so she politely said hello. This greatly surprised the cousin. The little junior actually knew Professor Zhao. Our academic superstar is really so unfortunate, first poached by the best high school in the city, then secretly enrolled in the national competition by the principal. Just because she accidentally got full marks in all the competitions, she was directly admitted to Sanggua, the top university in Beijing. There's really no joy of choice at all. Huo Yao, remembering that only her grandmother truly cared for her before, anxiously asked, Grandmother, is she all right? Minyu said, perhaps because of your departure, her mental state isn't as good as before. Go visit her when you have time. We really can't understand the troubles of academic superstars. For example, this character. Only academic superstars can type it in the comments. If you can type it, all livestream eating dirt without drinking water. Friends who came to take the exam at Sanghua just wanted to simply enjoy a meal of Sanghua's delicious food, but were persuaded by the senior into the physics department. The senior hadn't finished dealing with this side. Then they ran into Professor Zhao from the biology department, whom they had met before in the high school principal's office at that time. There was already a move to recruit Huo. Now they've run into each other in the physics department. Professor Zhao said with a hint of complaint, "Little Huo, since you've come to Sanghua, why didn't you come to our biology research institute for a look?" Huo Yao looked innocent, feeling extremely wronged inside. "Love you say. I'm just an ordinary high school student who hasn't even taken the college entrance exam. How could I go to your biology research institute for a look?" Professor Zhao questioned again. "Didn't Principal Yu tell you anything?" Wei Yao thought for a moment. "No, have I even met the principal after the exam?" At this moment, a blonde female teacher rushed over, old Zhao. As soon as Zhao saw it was a professor from the physics department, he immediately sensed trouble. He quickly introduced to the female professor, "These are students from Yu High School here for the competition." The female professor was very interested and asked how their results were. Before they could speak, Professor Zhao quickly answered, "Yu He's students have always been promising." Then Min Yu asked, "Did you resolve the issue with the security guard this morning?" "Their results certainly won't be bad." Then he said, "All right, don't ask too much. It puts pressure on the kids, let them go play by themselves." As he spoke, he pretended to massage the female professor's shoulders and smoothly pushed her away. "It seems you can't be a professor without some cunning." He couldn't let the female professor know that this was Hu Yao who got full marks in every test. If she started competing for students, that would really be trouble for professors. At this moment, Professor Zhao was secretly calculating. He had clearly agreed with Yu He to bring Wei Yu over for fun, but unexpectedly, he arranged to bring her to the physics department. I guess this decades-long friendship ends here. When feelings fade, blocking is a must. Meanwhile, the respected Principal Yu suddenly sneezed. He was quite aware, wondering who was cursing him behind his back, having finally sent off Professor Zhao. Yili and Fan quickly said goodbye to his cousin. He didn't want to be seen by other teachers and cause trouble for his cousin. The cousin was extremely reluctant to part with the little junior, but he was also truly afraid of the school leaders, so he comforted himself by scratching his head. "All right, there will be plenty of opportunities in the future anyway." After leaving, Hu Yu sent a message to Min Yu, caringly asking how his leg was. Min Yu directly replied that it was fine, but at this moment he was sitting weakly on the sofa. The assistant was concerned about his health, but he insisted it wasn't a problem because there were more important matters waiting for him now. "How's the exhibition hall?" The assistant confidently replied, "Everything is normal. Yang Yu just went to the exhibition hall with him guarding. Nothing unexpected will happen." But Min Yu still tried to get up to go to the cultural relic exhibition hall. Suddenly, a spasmodic pain came from his leg, making him realize his physical condition wasn't right. But he still forced himself to walk away.